for everybody involved. You know?
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea.
I don't either.
I don't even know what I'm thinking of.
I don't know what you're thinking of.
Just
either.
talking to myself.
Steve.
No idea.
There's a video somebody posted, and this guy is doing that whole paddleboard thing out in the ocean, and a school of dolphins come along, and one just jumps out and body checks him.
That's the best. Animal on animal brutality. You gotta love it. Oh shit! You know what? I forgot to do some checks, some checks and
Balances.
yeah. I mean, I don't know what works and what doesn't tonight. I'm not. You know, guys, I'm not with it.
What?
I'm not. I'm not with it. I'm not.
What was in that KFC?
Chicken.
Oh,
Steve, chicken. Extra crispy, Steve.
Mm.
You said you don't like extra crispy. What are you doing changing?
I like chicken.
Oh.
I like the idea of extra crispy.
But you just don't like it?
In practice, I don't.
You don't go for that extra crispy shit.
I have false teeth.
Oh.
Yes.
Don't you remember they make them more dignified?
Oh, yes, that's right. I remember.
No. That wasn't my teeth, was it? Was it?
Yeah,
my
it was.
That was your teeth that made you more dignified, Steve.
I thought it was my glasses.
No, I don't think.
Well, before I got the false teeth, I looked like a meth addict, so I had to do something.
You did.
So it does make me look more dignified and stuff.
Okay, so we're going to do kind of an on-air live test, Steve.
Oh.
Because I didn't do anything off-air like I normally do.
See, this time I really didn't know you turned the live on.
Oh, weren't paying attention, huh, Steve?
No, sir.
Yeah. Can you hear this, Steve?
Oh, I heard it, yes.
Oh, okay, good. Okay. Everything's working fine then. Everything's working just fine. Steve, you can drift away. Steve, you more than anybody this week can just be on autopilot. There was like a week where we did the Game of Thrones episode where Matt and I were like, Steve, you can just like be on autopilot.
Right.
This doesn't really concern you.
Uh-huh.
You know, the
so you tell me to keep my yap shut?
No.
Okay.
Not at all.
All right.
You do not need to keep your yap shut at all. I'm just saying, you don't necessarily need to do anything if you don't want to.
I'm not required to participate.
No, not required to participate that much at all this week, Steve. However, we have to keep the debate going.
Okay. So that list of questions that you sent me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Those.
I didn't receive it.
That's because I didn't send one.
We were supposed to discuss that, weren't we?
Steve, listen, you know as well as I do, things get a little fucked up from now and again.
Well, yeah.
Okay, all right. Just as long as you understand.
Okay.
This is all coming from. All right.
All right.
So you ready for this, Steve?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Let's begin.
Steve Alcorn's a fine investigator.
Oh, fuck off.
This is the Fortean Slip with your host, Chris York.
I don't need porn, Chris. I have a good woman.
Listen, I have a good woman. I still watch porn.
Co-host, Steve Alcorn.
You are the top shit in Bigfootery if you get the invitation.
Oh, are you?
I've gotten the invitation 2 years in a row now, Chris.
Wow, not me.
And sometimes special guest, Matt Knapp.
It's part of growing older, you know? Maturing. Makes me more dignified and stuff.
Okay, George Washington.
I opted for the...
Isn't that what meth addicts say? That make me more dignified.
on all things strange since 2013.
Wait a minute.
I don't know what the hell.
Are you saying that he's pregnant?
Possibly.
Was he implanted by one of these teenage aliens?
Did that happen to Arnold?
This device, which comes as part of Nintendo's Quality of Life initiative, is to
He's going to have kids running around banging their heads off bricks.
Yeah.
You're about to witness the strength of creep knowledge.
Good evening and welcome to the Fortean Slip. This is episode 75, the Great Bigfoot Debate of 2019. Bitches. That's right. Steve, you don't even say it even remotely in a useful way.
Biatches.
I hope that if you ever use that word with your wife, that she slaps you across the face like a pimp would slap his hoe.
I would hope that if I called my wife that, she would do the same thing. God, that's horrible.
It's in the way you say it.
Oh.
You know?
No, I'm not going to say it at all.
You can't pull it off, Steve. Is what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Well,
You personally can't pull it off.
No, I know that.
You
I'm
know.
not a puller offer when it comes to that word.
Oh, I'm sure you are.
Really?
Steve.
I wasn't going there.
Steve.
Yeah.
It's good times, Steve.
Sure it is.
It's good times. So, I recently, and I had brought this up, got into a hangout with one former producer. Welcome back to the show, Richard Allen.
Great to be
fuck.
here.
Holy fuck.
And one Matt Knapp. After, I believe it was after an episode of the Squatchable podcast on Saturdays at 6 p.m. The Bigfoot news program.
Thank you.
And not that we got into a Bigfoot debate in that little chat room. However, Matt and Richard went for the fucking jugular. Like, you've never seen two people crane their necks around to bite each other in the neck at the same time more than Matt Knapp and Richard Allen in this fucking verbal fight. It was fucking beautiful. And it was hilarious. So I had said to them both, I'm like, you guys, because, and I brought this up last episode, Richard had said to me before Matt came into the hangout, you know, I'd love to talk about Bigfoot with Matt. And, you know, because he's so knowledgeable. And I'm like, well, fucking let's make it happen. So I said, you guys just need to fucking debate Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Because this would be great. You know, Matt is someone who's seen Bigfoot.
Allegedly.
Is a believer.
Oh,
Steve, what the fuck?
Well, it's all alleged.
Wow. Matt, did you hear that shit?
I'm ignoring it. I'm in my pregame right now.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Okay. All right.
And you remember that he said he saw a fucking composite frog jump across the room.
Yeah,
it did,
and heard a thunderbird flap its wings,
and maybe heard a Bigfoot. Maybe,
yeah.
Allegedly.
Steve, your cryptid encounters are far more alleged than Matt's.
You forgot the lake.
Your fake UFO video.
Oh, I've seen UFOs.
Norm
For real,
Glasser.
seen with my eyes. Don't talk about that.
So anyway, yeah. So I said, you know, this needs to go down. This needs to happen. And you know, so I took Matt, much like Apollo Creed from Rocky 3, and I took him to some black chat rooms. And him and I, you know, I got him, you know, ready for everything.
He gets killed.
Tiger. Apollo Creed. Eventually, this is before Rocky 4.
It was probably that 30-minute dance number he did with James Brown before the fight.
That's right. That's right.
Just
Richard
saying.
knows. Richard knows. This is how it goes down. And I said, this is like fucking East versus West. This is fucking great. So, yeah, and then they both agreed to it.
Wait. So you've pre-coached Matt in advance?
No. What he means to say is he didn't come up with a topic for this week. And so we discussed it previously. About 30 minutes before the show, he was like, "Hey, you want to do that Bigfoot debate?"
You got 30 minutes knowledge. No, I got 20 minutes.
Well, yeah, because I didn't immediately respond. So then he asked you and was like, "Richard's down." Like he's already poking both of us.
We should combine against him. That's what we should. Turn the tables.
That's not how this goes.
It should be me and Richard versus the two of you.
Yeah. No.
Bigfoot? Like, how would that work?
In anything.
Shit. But I thought that we should start in a vein where the two of you actually agree.
Okay.
Apparently they agree that you're a douchebag.
They do agree that I'm a douchebag.
I never said douchebag.
Discuss. Chris is a douchebag.
It was implied.
No, the idea that there are Bigfoot in the UK, and I do believe that you both tend to share the same thoughts on that. So I thought that would be a good place to start this whole fiasco, so to speak. Start on like common ground, and then we'll work away from separating you and dividing you.
Turning you against one another.
That's right. It doesn't take long with you two anyway. All I have to do is bring up fucking console or PC games, and it's fucking all over between you two.
Well, that's not what we're here to discuss.
Right. Correct, Richard. Correct. Thanks for keeping it on point, Richard.
That's okay. So yeah, British Bigfoot. It's a load of bollocks. Your thoughts, Matt?
It was created because the Brits felt left out whenever Finding Bigfoot was on the air.
I will agree with that. It's funny we didn't have that many sightings until after Finding Bigfoot did their special over here. Thanks, douchebags.
Now, do you guys, either one of you, subscribe to any type of cryptid in the UK of that of the Bigfoot variety, and I mean of the bipedal, that could be confused with Bigfoot,
man-sized
right.
primate,
not necessarily primate, but man-sized. There are all kinds of cryptids that are man-sized.
Well, yeah, werewolves,
not necessarily primates, but and
werewolf in London. So
yeah, and a great documentary, man.
I mean, that's where werewolves came from, Germany and everything.
Yeah, over there in Europe.
Do those count as cryptids, though?
I would say
that's kind of more of the monster realm.
It does kind of go into myths and legend, but I would say that a werewolf could be a cryptid.
We'll give him
We've got the pig man of Cannock Chase.
The pig man?
Yeah, we've got the pig man.
Doesn't he like actually exist though?
Isn't
there one like the dude actually like wound up existing?
It was just ugly.
Yeah, it was just an ugly motherfucker. No, I'm serious. Like I've heard about this one. There's one in the UK, in Britain, and it was a weird name. But when you said that, the pigman of what is it called? What is it?
Cannock Chase.
Cannock Chase. It reminded me of that. But I was just curious if either one of you subscribe to any other type of cryptid in the UK that could be confused with that.
No.
What a great debate.
No, I wanted to start them off on.
I know, but geez.
Common ground. Steve.
Yes.
Steve.
No. Yes. No. Well, that was it. That's all we
Oh,
got.
well then, Mr. Fucking Talent, why don't you come up with some questions?
What do you got, Steve?
I ain't got
Steve,
shit.
no, what do you got, fucking Mr. Spatula City?
Huh?
You heard me.
I don't even know what
you heard me, fucking Kramer. Get up off your fucking couch.
But it gets worse. It gets worse though, because like now I have a new one. Like it wasn't bad enough that the UK had Bigfoot. Now there's people, like, I know the people. They're making documentaries about the Bigfoot in Ireland.
Ah.
Oh.
Ireland doesn't have any animals. It has like birds, I think. It might have some birds and like rodents.
Rabbits,
Thanks.
deer, fox, badgers.
Yeah, but there's no like giant predatory mammals there.
There's no giant predatory mammals in England either.
There was a bear.
There's a bear.
It was
What?
kept at like a castle or something.
One bear.
A lion and a giraffe.
Are you getting confused with zoos, man? Is that what's
No.
happening?
There was some royal fuck over there that whenever they were in the castle, they had like their own personal collection of exotic animals. And
Yeah, lots of people did. They were released in the 70s. That's why we have the whole big cat cryptid thing.
yeah. So see, there we could go with the big cat. Does that count as close to Bigfoot? I mean,
A big cat?
yeah.
Well, it actually exists. So it doesn't count.
I don't know if
it
I'd go
exists.
if I'd make the stretch from.
It doesn't count if it actually exists.
No,
Why?
they actually exist. They're not cryptids.
Have you seen one?
Have they been scientifically proven?
One was shot recently on the. So I think that's pretty scientific.
Where was that? When did a large feline become proved in the UK?
They captured a lion outside London. They've shot a lynx recently.
No, we're talking the big black mystery cats.
Oh, the beast of no, that's never been proven.
Huh.
Hmm.
The beast, was that the beast of Bogdan?
The
Moor?
beast of Bodmin Moor. Yes.
Yes, I would have pronounced it wrong. So I mean, but you guys are both in agreement that there's
there ain't no Bigfoot.
there's no chance that there is Bigfoot.
Well, yeah, there's a chance.
Okay.
We're barely in agreement that Bigfoot exists at all, let alone in England. All right.
There's a chance if like all my theories are wrong, which could very well be.
Right.
I mean, yeah, there's a chance that they're everywhere if that's the case. But
yeah,
what if they're woo
right
or aliens?
Okay.
We've
Now
got crop
now to
circles.
go on that. No, now to go on that, and I had brought this up the other day on the Squatchable podcast with Phil. That we don't know. So we really don't know. Like Matt, you've seen one, and I believe you have been your friend for quite a while now. I believe that you saw what you say you saw. And I don't know what that means overall. But I believe in your sighting. However, that being the case, you saw something that was flesh and blood, but we don't know anything about this creature really. We don't know. We know nothing. Next to nothing. So to say that Bigfoot is or could not be alien in nature is kind of ignorant of us to say that because we don't know. So what are you guys' thoughts on the whole idea that Bigfoot may possibly be an alien being? Go, Matt.
completely off base.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, okay. I'm basing that on my idea of alien is something that would live or exist on a different planet. And that's under the assumption that that planet would have requirements that are different than what our planet has. And what I saw very well systematically belongs on this planet with all the other living stuff that's here.
But you couldn't make the stretch to say that it is an intelligent being and that maybe it chose to come here because it suits what it needs.
Why would it travel across the universe to come here and shit?
Who knows? But what I'm saying is it's something that we technically can't rule out.
No, we can't.
Right.
But
But your feelings are that no, that's not the case.
without knowing what is inside of it, like without having one dissected, based on outwardly appearance, to say that would be the same. You would also have to say anything else on this planet could be alien.
Right, and there's speculation even that human beings could be alien.
Right.
So
But
I mean,
you
it was
also
just
have to
it was just a thought process, you know, throwing something out there. for you
Right, but
guys
you'd
to
also
go
have to
over,
say
but-
gorillas and chimps and dogs and everything else is potentially alien too.
Right, and there's all kinds of suspect shit that's going on, or that people see in the genetic, you know, the line of genetics. But anyway, so yeah, so you're on the side of no fucking way.
Right.
Okay. So Richard, what do you say?
I'd buy it. It makes a bit of sense. If there's sighting reports all over the world, then they'd have to be alien. I mean, I'll buy it before I buy the woo shit.
So birds don't exist all over the world?
Birds.
I'm just asking a question. Your logic is based on that there's sightings all over the world.
Same exact species.
Who said the same species?
Well,
Dog. Are all dogs the same species?
They all came from the same canis branch of the tree, yeah.
Okay, but are they all the same?
Are they all the same? No. There's
I mean,
different
if you put a
subspecies.
chihuahua next to a wolf, do they look identical?
Well, wolves aren't dogs.
Yes, they are.
No, they're wolves.
That's literally where dogs came from.
Yeah. It's a different branch of the tree. You're talking about Canis
No,
domesticus.
not a different branch of the tree.
Yeah.
Canine. That's the
Canine.
branch we're talking about.
Oh, no. That's the tree. We're talking about branches.
That's the tree.
Yeah.
You do know that all life belongs on the same tree, right?
Right. No,
Okay.
life is like a forest. And
I thought it was like a box of fucking chocolates.
Okay.
there's a tree for cats, there's a tree for dogs, there's a tree for
Look,
human apes.
I'm sorry that you chose the wrong wording to lead off with that. If you'd like to go back and change your answer, I'll accept that.
Nah.
But to say because they exist in different areas of the world that they must be alien, well, I guess people are aliens then.
They could come down on UFOs and visit different cultures. Where's your proof that that's wrong?
Well, you can't prove any of it. What's your point?
But it makes more sense to me.
I can't prove you're not an alien.
Maybe I am.
Nobody's been able to prove that yet.
Steve, why
I
don't you
totally buy Richard's an
sit
alien.
down?
Could the man who prefers original recipe over extra crispy keep his mouth shut?
I was told I was allowed to speak.
Well, you were told wrong.
Yeah, but you have to bring something valuable to the table, Steve.
Oh,
I never said that I'd
hasn't
buy it
happened.
100%. I said that I'll buy it more than I'm willing to consider it a possibility.
Okay.
So you're willing to consider it as a possibility,
Yeah, I could buy
simply
the
because it is or could be a possibility that we're leaving out.
Yeah, it's a worldwide phenomenon. You know, I would believe in that they could be aliens.
See, I also don't like that word. Phenomenon. Like it's an occurrence.
It is an occurrence.
No,
There was
it's something that lives out there that has just gone undiscovered.
Is it?
Listen,
mean-
Matt, I'm gonna take Richard's side on this one for a second because while every day I get up and I drink a coffee and I have to go to the bathroom, and it is a phenomenon, Matt. And while it may be a mundane everyday thing,
but that's an actual quantifiable experience. Bigfoot
sightings are a phenomenon.
Well,
Exactly. Where are the dead ones? Where's the proof they even exist at all?
I think a phenomenon is something that's just like a one-time phenomenal event that takes place.
like the John Travolta movie.
Yeah.
Just
Just like the John Travolta movie.
That's right. That's right.
He was phenomenal.
Oh yes,
Phenomenal means exciting.
Steve, I think you should join Scientology now.
Yeah, okay.
all right, fine. It's a worldwide thing then. Is that better for you?
It's not a thing.
It's a bloody thing. People say they see
No,
them
it's
all over
not
the
like a
world.
vision of the Virgin Mary up in the sky or anything. It's a
That would
fucking
be a-
animal.
I have to take
Yeah.
Matt's side on this. Yeah.
How do you know it's an animal?
Because I've seen it.
Yeah, but come on. You saw a face through a pair of binoculars.
No,
How do you...
you think that's the only fucking sighting I've had?
That's all I
In
remember.
20 fucking years, you
That's-
think that I would have stayed out there if that's the only thing that I had ever encountered?
That's all
I
I
saw
remember.
one with 3 other people at the same time.
Well, tell me about that sighting then.
It's all over the internet. It happened in Texas, Eastern Texas, in 2002. Same year I saw my first one through the night vision.
Town of El Paso.
We actually just did a show about it on Bigfoot Outlaw Radio.
Yeah, but you know.
I fell in love with a 7-foot hairy girl.
Okay, well, if you go by the reports, not the researcher reports, just the eyewitness reports, they all describe the same thing.
Right,
And-
a tall bipedal hairy thing walking away from them.
Well, you're right up to the part where you said walking away from them. That's not every report.
Well, that's a,
But we're talking about symmetrical. It has forward-facing eyes. It has a mouth. It has a nose, 2 arms, 2 legs, feet, hands.
right, but
Females
where's the
are different
evidence?
than males. Females have breasts. Males don't. Young ones have been seen. Variations of hair color has been seen. All of those things say, yep, that's an animal. I can poke it with a stick. It leaves tracks. It goes poo. It eats. It has sex. Come on. What else is it going to be?
Well, those are just brief sighting reports. Where's the evidence that the beast doesn't teleport away the minute their back's turned? Or doesn't turn into energy and symbiotically merge with a tree?
Because if it had the ability to do that, how would we even know about them?
Because they'd want us to know, because they're intelligent. Which
They
brings
want us
back
to know, but
aliens.
that's why they hide from us. And like
It could be a social experiment.
That's it.
a social experiment.
A social experiment to see if prolonged how long people will go looking for them.
That's a human construct, not an animal construct.
But how do you know that? Well, my argument is that maybe they're not animals. Maybe they're more intelligent.
Then what we give
Okay.
them credit for?
I would agree that they're more intelligent than what people give them credit for. However, they do live in the woods. I don't know. I consider things humans do.
So did Walt Whitman, and people consider him enlightened.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
But I mean, no, I know what you're saying, but I'm also saying, like, you know, you're like, they live in the woods. That can't mean that they're at all like.
I'm not talking about they live in the woods as in they live in the woods. I'm saying they're an animal.
Yeah.
They live as an animal. They don't use fire. They don't use weapons. They don't show any signs of advanced intelligence like we do.
Right.
Now,
But-
could that all be by choice and they're doing it because they don't have the need for it? I don't know.
So, and this question doesn't really pertain to Richard because he doesn't necessarily buy into Bigfoot. But so you don't buy into the idea that Bigfoot uses hunting dogs?
What?
What?
Yeah. There are people that believe that Bigfoot use dogs for hunting.
Trained coyotes.
Mm-hmm.
No.
No.
You don't buy into that.
No. What I do buy into is that they're opportunistic, and a lot of predators deal with, is it worth the chase?
Right.
So whenever it comes to calorie expenditure and everything, if there's a pack of coyotes that has, say, just recently taken down a deer, I do buy into a Bigfoot going in there, scattering the pack and taking the deer from them.
Yeah. No, yeah, that would be a good tactic on their part. I agree with that.
Similar to, like, you know, lions and hyenas.
Mm-hmm.
But training, canines to go do the hunting. No, I don't think they need that.
Right.
Well, they would have to be more highly intelligent than we give them credit for if they can do that sort of thing.
Right.
But we're not. I was just posing the question. I wasn't saying that that's something.
Yeah, no. It's a good question.
Right. So anyway, so Richard, based on the now, I know you basically you think it's all just a load of bullshit at this point.
Pretty much, yeah.
From what I've gathered talking to you. I mean, you like the idea of it. You'd love for it to be something else, but you just don't buy into the fact that it is.
I want to believe.
Right, but you just don't.
No, not anymore.
So based on the numbers of the sighting reports that continue on, and just the idea that even if a fraction of these are anything worth an ounce of anything, you don't buy into that. Like, you don't think that has anything to do with it. You just think that the eyewitness reports are a bunch of bullshit.
Well, as you know, I've got a background in psychology, and the question you've got to ask yourself is, like, there were about 4,000 sightings reported to the BFRO a year, right? I think that's about accurate. Are there 4,000 attention seekers in America?
Okay.
I think, people just make shit up for attention. But you're all right. All it takes is one of them to be accurate. I mean, I'm still here. I'm still in the community. I run a podcast talking about positive stuff. I want it to be real. I find it very difficult, having talked to some of the people that actually go looking for it, to believe in it.
Yeah, it makes it very hard. It does make it really hard to hold on to that desire in the belief when you talk to people day in and day out. And I think Matt can even relate to that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. You and I have had discussions about it many times. Like,
I mean, the error is definitely on the human end.
Yeah.
I mean, without a doubt. I mean, if you go by the research community, then no, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
I mean, just matter of factly, no.
Yeah.
If you go by like the fact that people have literally been reporting seeing, I mean, if you want to go with like the tells from the First Nations people talking about them first, in North America at least, you can start there. You can start with the first English settlers, the first newspaper articles. I mean, there's reports of them dating back to the 1800s. There wasn't 4,000 attention seekers back then. Yeah, even the Vikings reported talking about it. So,
yeah. And they even said that they had a smell to them.
Yeah.
So people back then believed in a lot of crazy stuff. I mean,
but if they've never heard of it before,
but the natives told them about it. You could just attribute that to mass hysteria.
Yeah. Oh, Richard.
There were contact between the first settlers and Native American tribes.
Of course they were, and I'm sure that out of all of that contact, they were like, "Oh, and there's this one thing that we're going to tell you guys about."
It's possible.
Okay. Well, there wasn't contact between the English settlers and the First Nations people of Canada and the Pacific Northwest.
Right, but there was.
But they both had stories of them.
Yeah. Okay. What's your point?
Nothing. It's called shutting down yours.
No, that's got nothing to do with my
You
point.
said that the First Nations people could have told them about it, and that's where they got the idea. And I just showed you an example of where they didn't come into contact with them, and still both parties were talking about them.
Matt, I want to take you back for a second. No, Matt, I want to take you back for a second. You laid out this beautiful thing about Canada and about the Inuit, and you were like, Richard, what do you have to say about that? And Richard's comeback was, Gordon Lightfoot.
Fair enough.
Your point was, my point was that they told the English settlers, which you didn't dispute, but the First Nations people already have these legends.
No, I did dispute it. I think that's bullshit.
Right, but you are But the First Nations people all had the same legend. That's your point, right?
No, they all had different legends about the same thing. They had different names for them, but they were all describing the same thing.
Right, but they could have talked to each other about it.
They also have different beliefs as to what they are.
But there's like 100 different versions of Christianity.
And different languages, and not all the First Nations people talk to one another.
Sometimes they just killed each other.
Yeah.
Right, but I'm sure they sat down and talked to each other, shared legends.
Okay. And who told the Russians about them?
Uh-huh.
Didn't the First Nations people come from Russia?
We don't know where they came from, actually.
Isn't it believed that they crossed the Bering Strait during the Ice Age?
Sure. We'll go whatever direction you want to go with it.
Yeah, because I'm genuinely interested.
Okay.
If this is a legend that originated in Russia, they took it with them to North America.
But it didn't originate in Russia.
But where was the first?
You already said it. It's all over the world. So nobody knows the origin of it. Nobody can trace it back or anything. It's just always been a known thing.
It's all over the world now that we have bloody TV and internet and shit.
Right. But like you have, I mean, the people from different areas all have like stories about these bipedal hair-covered creatures that are like men but different. I mean, the Yaren, the Almasty, the Yowies.
Like, the Yowies interesting.
It's not just North America. I'm just talking about North America.
Right. Okay. So my point is that the First Nations told the original settlers and they turned it into their own story of Bigfoot, and that's where it came from.
I don't think so. I mean, like, is it a possibility? Sure.
I tend to think not so much, if I can interject, just based on the fact that when people came in and settled North America from Europe, they were big on carrying on stories and things, and if that were the case, if they were hearing this all over the place in like huge droves, and granted, we know that the native peoples had these stories, but if they were hearing it in all these droves, it would have swept the nation then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sort of like the Bigfoot craze swept the nation with the Patterson Gimlin footage.
I mean, you're also talking about like the language barriers.
Right.
I mean, you're talking about a lot of things. I mean, if you're saying that, like, okay, we're going to go all the way back in time.
But what I'm saying is, once there was enough integration that we started understanding them, you'd think that if those legends were as pervasive in the event to, because what I mean by that is that the settlers would have, there would have been more talk of the stories. And I'm not saying that belittles the fact that the native peoples had those stories. I believe that they had them.
But they also all had stories about,
But I'm trying to prove your point out of this, actually. Is that I don't necessarily think that Richard's idea holds water, because you don't see the settlers carrying on those stories. You don't hear about it until later on, when people start going back and looking into these native traditions and their stories and their folklore. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. And they also had other stories that, I mean, the settlers didn't start reporting seeing, the beaver woman or anything.
Or the little people.
Right.
But they did talk about thunderbirds.
Yes, they did.
Thunderbirds are real.
Right.
Oh, fucking hell. You had to fucking wake the beast, didn't you?
Well, okay, but in all fairness, a condor could very easily be a thunderbird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your point is they started seeing something that actually existed.
Well, yeah, they did back then, but
it doesn't count with Bigfoot.
No.
No, yeah, no, you're right.
Steve's
My
all in
point
on the Thunderbird, Matt. You've
My point is completely
you've woken the
invalid.
giant.
And I was taking a nice little nap, and somebody brought up Thunderbird, and I'm like, yeah.
And he was like, caw, caw.
Well,
Come
if
to
you
me,
can
my
sell it
children.
at the
for
corner
5
market.
minutes, you'll let me finish conceding the point to Matt.
Oh,
Right.
Oh,
wow.
see at that point.
I was just going to add that
No, he's right. It doesn't make any sense.
there are lots of legends that the Native Americans had that we don't see in culture today because they were more legend. But there's a lot of things that carry on, like Bigfoot and Thunderbirds and things like that, that may not have been legend, and we still hear about them, and people still see that sort of thing. So I think, going back to Chris's point, that I don't know what I'm saying.
Thank you for that, Steve.
Very eloquent speech I just had. I lost my train of thought. It happened.
You bring yourself a pillow so you can go back to
You
sleep.
guys made me be part of a show that I have, no.
You fucking been talking about Bigfoot for years, dude. You used to have a blog called Sasquatch Scoop.
I did. Yes, I did.
So what's the scoop, Steve?
The scoop is that I don't know shit.
I guess.
No, I'm just saying that because we still talk about certain things, there are still sightings of certain things. The reality may be that they exist. Now, we may be misidentifying things like Thunderbirds as condors and things like that, but nobody's really come up with a reason why people are still seeing Bigfoot other than the fact that it may still exist.
What about the possibility that it used to exist but has gone extinct?
Then why do reports continue?
Well, that just brings us back to the attention-seeking thing.
So Matt's an attention seeker, Richard?
When was the last time he saw one? 2002.
So they recently became extinct.
Yeah. Possible.
You can't take it off the table of possibility.
At any point, yeah, sure. I would have to somehow psychically know the entire population of them. So no, I can't argue that.
Well, it'd have to be a very low population, or we would have found them by now.
Well, yeah, but they have to maintain a breeding population.
Right.
There has to be a certain amount. There's been numbers run on what the breeding population.
I don't even want to go down that road.
Well, obviously,
shutting it down right now.
Well, no, but there has to be a certain amount for them to continue on.
Right.
And it's not a super low number, but it's not a super high number either.
Right.
I don't recall what the numbers were, but they were.
Do you think they're singular or they have whoops?
They have what?
Groups, whoops, flanges.
Groups.
Yeah.
Breeding populations. I mean, a lot of it's, once again, based on reports and stories of encounters where people believe that they've encountered Bigfoot, but they have seen them in family groups together. As a matter of fact, in research, typically, if you're out in the field and you believe that there's one there, there's usually the same signs of more than one being there. It's actually the more popular belief that they're hardly ever alone. The ones that are alone are usually considered younger males that have been driven from the group by the alpha. But that's just a belief. We don't know anything.
Right. And I mean, well, I applaud people for trying to speculate on things, because I think one of my favorite things is speculative biology. I've done a couple of different shows now on it, and I really like the idea of trying to speculate things and think outside the box. However, when it comes to Bigfoot, until we have a subject that we can study regularly, it's very difficult to say this is an absolute truth.
Right.
And that makes it extremely difficult. And it makes it very hard for people like you, Matt, who have, spent a ton of time researching and dedicating their, life to this thing because of what you saw, on multiple occasions. So it makes it really difficult because while in your heart, in your mind, because of what you saw, but yet at the same time, it's you have to defer to certain truths,
Right.
which makes things fucking just absolutely difficult.
Well, there's two ways you can approach it. There's the approach that, okay, I've seen one, so I know they exist. So now I can look for evidence that could belong to them since I know that they're out there personally, or believe what I saw myself. Mm-hmm. Or you can be of the other side, which is, well, unless you have proof that a Bigfoot did it, then you can't suggest that a Bigfoot did it. That
Right.
goes nowhere. Like, you can't do anything at that point. I mean, so I think a little bit of theory based in what we do know about life on this planet is okay and has actually opened doors for me personally in my own research. But, I get that it's not going to prove it scientifically to do that.
Right.
So really you have to look at it as, well, what are you in this for? I mean, if I know they exist, then I know that they're going to have to do certain things. So like I can look for tracks and I can find tracks and like be like, okay, this could be a Bigfoot because I know they exist. This, whatever, they could have ate this, they could have done that. Mm-hmm. Whereas the other way, I mean, you hear a vocalization out there that sounds primate in nature that doesn't match anything else in North America. You have one group that says, well, yeah, that's a Bigfoot vocalization. Mm-hmm. But then you have the other side that says, well, did you see a Bigfoot make the vocalization? So like, where does that line of thought get you? Right. Like, until you have a specimen that you're observing in captivity, you're never going to be able to do anything.
Right. And that's fact.
Yeah.
Or unless you're watching them in their habitat and documenting it.
Right.
Which is funny. Which is funny because anytime I've ever seen, me personally, have ever seen anyone try to relay to these people in these areas where there have been these sightings how to do proper research, it's never done.
No.
Never done.
Well, the first problem,
case in point, and I hate to bring this one up, but the Browns on the Olympic Peninsula.
Yeah.
David Batdorf went out there and tried his damnedest to relay how to document and how to collect evidence. And it just went right over everybody's head.
Well, because it's not fun.
Yeah. Poof,
boring.
Gone.
It's not exciting. Nobody wants to do that.
It's not sitting there looking through a trail camera or a thermal and seeing, something in the distance. It's not whatever. It blew my mind that here's this guy who has this passion for doing things the correct way, the proper way, the way that we should be doing it. And it just went poof.
Well, there's been countless discussions on setting up real scientific standards and procedures to follow to document stuff.
And also, not to cut you off, Matt, but to go back to what you were talking about before, about the idea of collecting all of the evidence and having all your ducks in a row. That was why I brought up the whole the David Batdorf thing. Mm-hmm. But when that happens, when people want that to happen, it doesn't happen.
Well, right, because like I said, the error side is on the human in this endeavor.
Right. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
And a lot of it, sadly, I mean, it's not a group of scientists. It's just all kinds of people, you know, and there's no guidelines or rules. There's no test or exam to pass to, you know, be a Bigfoot researcher.
And listen, I've bitched about this many different times about fucking people not being scientists out in the field or whatever. I'm not saying that people can't do proper research. If people go out and do the research properly, yes, it can be done. You know, so these armchair scientists or these, you know, weekend warrior scientists, they can work if they do the proper method of collecting evidence.
At this point, all it is documentation.
Yes.
That's all you got to do. Turn on a fucking video camera and leave it on.
Yep. And and when you release a video, don't release a 5-second snippet.
No.
You know, release the whole video.
And like, you're not going to prove anything, regardless of what you capture. But if you have video, like, say, you know, you drive to a location and you turn on the video camera before you get out of your vehicle and you leave it on, whenever you come across that trackway or whatever, it's going to be documented that that's how you came across it. Yeah. It's going to be preserved. Everything you do, you can say it, you can record it on the audio and the video, you can document everything. And then you can go back and say, okay, well, here's where I made my mistakes, or here's my video for peer review, just whatever.
And this is not to like belittle like these people who don't or can't manage to catch something that they see on camera. When I went to California, I drove up to the supposed Smeha kill site, Bigfoot kill site, and there was a bear, and I pulled out my phone, and took a video of said bear, and bear bolted off into the woods. Like, I mean, this is a creature that the minute it knew we were there, took off, but I would manage to get video of it. You know, so
clear,
if people
clear video,
right, clear video, and if people just manage to take out their video camera or their camera or whatever, document this shit. You know, that's, you know, I'm right in agreement with you, man.
Here's a novel idea. Quit spending your money on thermal imagers and recorders and just get a decent fucking camera.
What's a thermal image going to do?
Right.
Oh, it was the wave of the future, Matt. It was the way we were going to capture Bigfoot, remember?
Listen, I've got that GoPro last week, and it runs 4 hours or it runs an hour on a battery. You could fucking walk around for an hour with that thing before it shuts off. Then you have 3 more batteries in your bag, and you just keep doing that. It takes 4 hours of video on my card. And it's super clear. You can shoot in 4K. Buy something like that instead of wasting all that time and effort on stupid shit. You know,
or a camera that you mount to a tree thinking that a Bigfoot's going to walk within 15 feet of it in 1,200 acres of forest.
Right.
Right. Yeah, trying to find that one little sweet spot.
If you're going to do it, it's okay to do it that way, but you have to have a
yeah, but you in and of that, and this goes back to what Matt was saying about speculating about creatures' habits. You know, if you use that speculation in your method of collecting evidence, and that helps you collect evidence, then fucking great.
If you use it to find the evidence.
Right, correct. And then it works, then that's great. Because that also supports the theory that the creature does.
I mean, do you know how many people are like, you know, well, why aren't there more tracks? You know, I've heard every argument there is. And like, you know, there's a lot of questions I certainly don't have answers to, all of them, basically. But like, I have ideas, I have theories, and like the track question, well, okay, go walking around and see if you just stumble across tracks very often.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It has to be in the right type of substrate.
Right, you have to go to where the tracks would be.
Yeah.
And I can't count the number of times, I mean, I've done it myself, where you'll go out with a group of Bigfooters, and somebody finds a track or a possible track, everything stops at that point. The plaster comes out. They destroy the track by getting that trophy to take home, to show everybody, like, look what I found. It usually looks like shit anyway. But tracks, to a person who hunts or is a tracker, they give you information.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever you get to that track, you don't stop and freak out and cast it and then call her a day. Follow the track in the direction that it's going. You'll probably find other tracks or other evidence. That's your first sign that something came through there. And now you can look for evidence for it.
I wonder how long it'll be before we're able to, with our phones, just scan over a print on the ground and have a 3D model of it.
I hope pretty soon.
Because that would completely eliminate the need for casting.
There's a famous Bigfoot guy, a scientist, as a matter of fact. You might have heard of him. He's got a bit of a foot fetish. I actually emailed him probably about 10 years ago, and I was like, "Hey."
I actually had a back and forth with Dr. Meldrum at one point.
Oh, really?
Yes. At the beginning of the Fortean slip, if you go back, there's a parody video I did where Dr. Phil has a discussion with Dr. Meldrum about his foot fetish. And I asked him, because I had heard that Meldrum was a fan of Carlin, a huge George Carlin fan. So I messaged him and I was like, listen, hey, I'm a huge Carlin fan too. And Carlin always said that, it is the duty of the comedian to cross the line, and hopefully he brings a few people with him, so to speak, yada, yada, yada. And, this is this thing that I want to do. And I want you to know that I want to do it regardless of whether you give me your blessing for it. But, I respect who you are. And I just wanted to throw it out there because I thought you would find it funny. And his response to me was, well, you're going to do it anyway, so it doesn't matter what I think.
Way to really embrace the moment there, Jeff.
Yeah, buddy. Because, I mean, to be honest, I think I like Meldrum. I've always appreciated the line that he walks. And I'd love to have eventually had him on the show, but hey, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Well, I emailed him and talked to him about using portable 3D laser scanners to scan tracks in the field, like they do at archaeology sites. Exactly what you're talking about with the phone. And I got the same response that I usually get from Meldrum whenever I email him with an idea. Oh, yeah, we're already working on that. And of course, you haven't seen it happen anywhere.
Well, and I think there's a reason for that. Is because that plaster cast is, like you said earlier, it's a trophy.
Right.
If you have a 3D scan, that's not much of a trophy. You can't hang that on your wall or show.
No, you can't.
I mean, you can, but not the same way.
Well, no, you could.
You could make a rendering of it with a 3D printer.
Yeah. You get a good enough 3D printer, and it's not going to be the same thing. It's going to be exactly like what you saw.
But that's not what people want.
They want a fucking piece of shit plaster fucking cast of the goddamn thing.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, and by the way, I hate to interrupt the show, gentlemen. But news flash.
No.
News flash.
Don't.
No. And I am going to. The gauntlet is fucking being thrown down right now because Ryan Redding says that he can get Dr. Meldrum on the show.
Yeah. Okay.
Gauntlet's thrown down, bitch. Produce. That's all I got to say to you.
Well, they're on a first name basis, I think.
That's great. Good for them. Make it happen.
That doesn't matter.
Yeah, the first name basis is Jeff Meldrum refers to Ryan as that meth head that won't leave him alone.
Hey, so never mind. I won't go there.
What were you going to say, Steve?
I don't know. I'm not going to.
Steve.
No.
Steve, don't hold back, buddy.
I'm holding back.
Let her rip, Steve.
No.
Let it go, Steve.
Cathartic and good for the soul.
Bring it all out, Steve.
I forgot what it was already anyway.
Steve, what are you going to say about Mr. Redding?
I wasn't going to say anything.
Come on. Don't just stir the pot when the fucking mics are
I drove through Dunkirk the other day, though.
Motherfucker, you went to New York and didn't even tell me.
Well, were you in New York?
No, but I'm technically not all that far from New York.
I was in Buffalo.
So that doesn't matter.
Buffalo's.
You could have said something. You could have said something. That's all I'm saying.
Chris,
could have said
next
something.
time I go to New York.
You could have said something. And if you go further, like I want to know.
Hey, are there Rite Aids in Maine?
Yeah, like there's Rite Aids in Maine, dude.
Go to Maine.
And fucking Rite Aids. It'd be a hell of a ride.
You mean Walgreens or CVS? You don't say that R word.
You don't say Rite Aid anymore?
No, you don't say Rite Aid.
Because that gives away your bread and butter?
No.
That gives away your top secrets?
We don't talk about Rite Aids.
Oh.
Can we talk about shampoo?
Yeah.
What about
$200 worth of shampoo?
Why did you buy all that shampoo?
All right, I'm going to leave the show here. I'm not telling you a damn thing from now on.
Hey, all I'm saying is the gauntlet's thrown down. Ryan says he can get Dr. Meldrum on the show, but put up or shut up. That's all I'm going to say to you. You run your fucking mouth all the time about shit. Put up or shut up.
Shut up.
All I was going to say is that Ryan is another thing that Matt and Richard can agree on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Disagree on much on Bigfoot. I just like a good debate. It's healthy for the soul.
Well, and you are a quote unquote non-believer at this point.
Yeah, pretty much. I've given up all hope.
So that's why I had asked you to do it. Because Matt is not, nor do I believe he ever will be, a non-believer.
And I'm just pretty... I don't know. How would you describe me, Chris? Like, I just want to make it clear that I like Richard.
The reason why Matt and I get along so well is because Matt is realistic about his belief in Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I'm very skeptical, and while Matt has had his experiences, I can believe in his experiences because of the way that he is about it. Because he is, for one, he isn't a cunt.
Yeah.
First and foremost,
all the
he's
time.
not a fucking asshole about it. He doesn't shove it in your face. He's not going, well, no. Matt's very cool about it. And he has a realistic approach. He's not too good to recognize a better way to look at things. And because of that, I've always been able to talk to him about Bigfoot or whatever the case may be.
Well,
even though we have different views about these
because
subjects.
This thing has been talked about all over the world and throughout history, and there are thousands of sightings that come in, and there's all these people claiming to see it and are describing, pretty much the same exact thing every time they describe it. Yeah, somebody needs to be holding our feet to the fire. We need to be improving on what we're doing because so far, whenever it comes to proving Bigfoot's existence or finding evidence of Bigfoot, we suck.
I fucking hate those researchers that are like, oh, come out with me for 5 minutes. I'll prove to you Bigfoot exists. Oh, no, you fucking won't because you fucking haven't, you fucking douche. People like that fucking Justin Smehar making up bullshit. There's Stacey Brown that clearly only just want to care about getting on TV. Michael Merchant who changed size every 5 fucking minutes just for the attention and the fucking kudos to himself.
Wow.
Matthew fucking Johnson. Hedge cunt bag himself, talking absolute horseshit, and all his goddamn followers lining up to drink the Kool-Aid. I mean, it makes it so fucking impossible to believe anymore.
Right. So you have to like remember that it's about the creature and not the ludicrous circus,
not the personality.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, one of my friends and people that I've gone out with many times. An older guy that's been doing this shit since at least the 70s. His name's Dan Rickey. One of the first things he told me was, you're going to learn far more about people and behavior than you're ever going to learn about Bigfoot.
Yep.
And
Totally
that's like
buy that
the
statement.
truest thing that has been said to me.
Yeah. But, in fact, if there is anyone listening to this show who's just getting into, researching Bigfoot or the Bigfoot topic, that is the one thing that we will tell you, is that you will learn far more about people in this search than you ever will about the creature itself. And that is fact.
And I've met people that I consider extended family and friends. I mean, like you guys, for instance, right. That's what brought us together.
Mm-hmm.
So like there's some really good relationships that can be, discovered.
Oh yeah, that can be made out of this. Yes.
But I have also seen some horrible, deplorable, dark, just dirty, scummy shit from people in this community.
Yeah.
I think Bigfoot may exist despite the people who are looking for
it.
Right.
But it's the people that are leading the charge that's fucking everything up.
Yeah. I got a question from the chat room from me, actually.
No.
Hey, Chris, I have a question for you. Have you been to the Brookdale Haunted Lodge when you went to California? No, Charles, I did not make it there. But yeah, and I completely agree. It's the people are so fucked up, but yet we managed to find some of these great connections with other people. Like one of the coolest people that I've met by far in the Bigfoot community was Phil Poley. And getting to meet Phil out in Washington was a joy. Hanging out with him, getting to actually party with him. It was a good time. And we've remained friends to this day. We still talk all the time and shoot the shit. And David Batdorf, same thing. Met David when his first child was just born. And met his wife, and just a great guy. And still friends with him to this day. So there are definitely good connections that can be made from it. But there's a lot of toxic bullshit that goes on with it. That is, it gets to the point of just, it can ruin people.
Yeah, I mean,
and it has ruined people.
Look at that one guy. I'm not going to mention his name. It rhymes with Peven Pooford. I mean, used to be an all right bloke, or at least tolerable, but these days it's just,
Yeah.
Kylo Ren?
That's the dude.
Mm.
If Kylo Ren was the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything.
I've always
going
thought
through menopause or something.
I've always thought he should come on the show.
Yeah.
Matt doesn't think so, but I do.
He can.
That's an example of someone that used to be an all right bloke, but has just become twisted over time.
Matt, he and I are tunnel buddies, man.
Yeah.
So, there's that.
But
I'm not saying
earlier,
that justifies it, Matt. I'm not.
I just want to get this out, okay? I like Richard. I respect Richard. Richard's a smart, funny guy. Okay? So, don't think whenever I thrash him and talk down to him that it's anything other than just debating whatever topic we're talking about.
Right.
I just,
too often people think that this stuff means, oh, those two hate each other.
Right.
I've got Richard and Matt. They're at odds.
For years, people would message me after the show was over. How can you tolerate these assholes being so mean to you? You just don't get it, do you?
And I also completely understand where Richard's coming from.
Yeah.
You know, like if you haven't seen one, you know, or you know, you weren't told by like your parents or a grandparent or a brother, you know, somebody that you just like absolutely believe. Yeah, it's disappointing. It would be very difficult to hold out on any sort of hope that these things are out there. I mean, I've certainly lost hope of them ever being proven in my lifetime, just based on the current digression of the research world.
Yeah, and it hasn't gotten any better. That's for sure.
Can we even call it research at this point?
No.
I don't think so.
I also like and respect Matt, and it's been fun to have a proper chat about Bigfoot with him for an hour.
Well, and like I said, you know, you would relate to me that was something that you wanted to do, and I thought, what better format than to just fucking do it on the show and have a good time with it. So, and listen, we're all passionate about it. Every single one of us here, Matt, myself, Richard, Steve. Yeah, Steve kind of doesn't give a fuck anymore. It's eBay and fucking Amazon for him.
That's right.
But you know, we all have like this genuine interest in the subject of Bigfoot. It's not like we just want to tear everything down. We want the truth,
right?
You know, and even Matt, as much as he believes in Bigfoot, I'll tell you one thing. Here's a guy who is the first one out there, if he sees a video that's bullshit, to call it out. To find the flaw. He's done it before. I've seen him do it on Phil. I've seen him catch something before Phil on a few different occasions. So we just want the truth. We don't want bullshit, because bullshit muddies the water.
And like, I'm open to whatever the truth is, even if it's like completely not what I think they are. I mean, like, I don't know anything about them. I just know that this is what I saw, and this is what it looked like to me.
If they landed in a UFO in the White House lawn tomorrow, came out and turned to the camera and said, "Sorry, Matt."
Yeah.
Matt would be like, "All right, cool. That's fucking what it is,
man.
I guess."
If Richard like unzipped his skin suit and was a Bigfoot, I'd be like, fuck, they are in the UK. But no, seriously, I mean, like, I don't know shit. All I have is my theories and opinions, and you know, so does everybody else. So it's not like I know more than anybody else. I mean, the reason I'm bringing that up is because Chris had said in his conversation with Richard said that he wanted to, you know, talk Bigfoot with me because I'm knowledgeable on the subject, and I appreciate that. But at the same time, no, I'm not. I'm just another Bigfoot witness. You know, like, don't really know shit.
But didn't the New York whatever say you were an expert?
Yes,
Steve, he's an expert. Don't let him fucking fool you.
I know. I think he's an expert.
If
an expert,
I will tell you, I'll tell you right now. Of all the people that I know, and I know a lot of people in the Bigfoot community, if I heard something about Bigfoot, Matt would be the first person I would go to.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
By far,
I would defer you to Norm Glasser.
Fuck you.
No, I was part of that too, Steve. I'm just saying, like, that proves I'm not a fucking expert.
But yeah. I think, and not because Matt's a friend or anything, but as far as the people I've seen in the community, Matt is the closest thing we do have to an expert. I mean, there isn't anybody who's an expert on this subject. Because
did you mean that as in you're not saying that because we are friends, or we're not friends and you're saying this?
A little, no, I don't know which I said. I said something that I have
he trips over his own words all the time.
I do. That's why I'm the newsreader.
Yeah, I've noticed.
It's been a common theme, Steve.
Oh, this is a great video I'm watching on Facebook.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Oh, no. Tell us about it, Steve.
Okay, so they got this guy. He's dressed up in.
I didn't fucking mean it.
Oh,
this guy.
Fucking jackass.
You told me to. Why don't you just say what you mean? Oh, never mind. Don't. So as soon as that came out of my mouth, I realized that was a bad idea.
Oh shit. Oh fuck. Oh, so yeah. But and you're supposed to be doing the Squatchable with us this coming week.
I
hear,
am
Matt.
this week.
Nice.
Should be an interesting Squatchable episode. I try to
Can I
dress
just
down
say-
Phil every episode.
Can I just say that having you and Phil on that show was the best decision I've ever made? Because all I've got to do is read a little tidbit from a story, and then you two just do all the work. It's just fucking brilliant.
Yeah. I mean, I think it works for now. It works until
For
Phil gets
now.
bored with it. I mean, I know how Phil is. He'll get bored. He's got too many home improvement projects going on.
Power
Well,
of
that
home
sync
improvement.
was amazing.
He's Phil the Toolman Taylor.
Just
But,
if he starts to get bored with it, just find some chick with big tits and put on there, and he'll stay.
He'll come back.
Yeah,
Isn't that the truth?
or a large-breasted woman. I apologize.
Yes.
Yes. As you should. How dare you, man? How dare you sexualize breasts?
Oh, one
Luscious.
last thing.
Luscious big breasts.
I didn't ask this while we were actually talking about it, but I've always. Do you think that the Freeman footage is a hoax or not, Matt?
I believe it is real.
Cool.
I do not.
Oh, you just
I
see
believe-
now you've done it, Matt. Now you've fucking done it.
What? Okay, here's the deal.
Now Steven Stroifert's gonna fucking throw a hissy fit.
I don't give a shit what he does. Like, here's the deal. Like, do you know how much pressure it is on a witness whenever they've like seen these things and nobody believes them and demands more proof, and how badly you want to just rub their face in the proof? Like, I know a lot of people that struggle with that, and I'm sure that has prompted a lot of hoaxes throughout time. And I believe the Freeman footage is authentic.
I don't.
Okay.
Don't.
No, I've recently rewatched it, believe it or not, within the last couple of weeks, and took a more outsider approach instead of wanting to believe in it. And it just, to me, the thing doesn't move the way a natural creature would move in the woods. It's looking down at its feet, to see where it's walking and things like that. And to me, that's just not the way a creature who would live in that area would move through the forest. That's all. I could be wrong.
See, and I've always been one. There's two videos that I think are definitive for me with Bigfoot. One is the Patterson Gimlin footage, and the other is the Freeman footage. And I tend to like the Freeman footage more
Really?
than I like the Patterson Gimlin footage. Yes.
I'm 98% sure the Patterson Gimlin footage is a hoax at this point.
What?
I got to be honest.
Okay, we're going along, folks.
Oh, Jesus. Here we go.
Based on what?
Round 4. Ding, ding.
Based on the fact that it's been made into HD these days, you can get a really good look at it. It looks like a costume. Bob,
What?
Bob, it looks like a costume, Matt.
It looks nothing like a costume.
It looks like a costume, especially when you can see the soles of its feet, and they're like pure white.
Because as they would be,
As
like,
they would,
just like a chimp's foot or anything else.
they're rounded. They look like shoes.
Just like feet are. Heels are round, toes are round.
It walks like a human.
Listen, Matt, it's got its tennis racket.
Anything
So
that
does its
walks
tennis
on two
shoes.
legs can be said to walk like a human.
Have you ever seen a chimp walk on two legs? It looks
Yeah.
nothing like a human.
It walks like a human with a limp
Oh, no, it's got its arms in completely different positions.
because
It
its
doesn't-
legs are short and it's not designed to walk bipedally.
But Bigfoot allegedly is designed to walk bipedally, so it would walk more like a human. Correct?
Finally, okay, let's just take the fact that it looks like a costume and put that on the back burner. You got
Okay.
Bob Gimlin's recent behavior on top of that. He's going to fucking woo conference.
Okay. Once again, there you go, inserting the person into it instead of paying attention to the evidence of the actual creature.
Well, that counts.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
Humans
If
are
someone-
not infallible. We make mistakes all the time. Just because Bob Gimlin changed his opinion or decided to start talking or be friendly to woo people to sell more documentaries, whatever he's doing, I don't know. I'm not here to judge. That doesn't mean he didn't run across a Bigfoot one day.
I'm not discounting the fact that maybe he ran across a Bigfoot. I'm saying it's definitely someone that's trying to sell out and make as much money as they possibly can.
And is growing older and should get something out of it.
He's been doing the rounds of conferences for years.
What do you think those pay exactly?
Not very much.
Well, there's a bloody lot of them. I'll tell you that for starters. So
yeah.
Even if he's getting like $200 per, that's $2,000 in the last 14 weeks.
Okay, a human can't live off that in the United States, but go on. You don't think he should be paid?
No, I'm saying no, chewing my lips. Sorry. No, he should be paid. But if he's getting he's obviously not getting 200. He's getting more than that. He's writing books. He's doing documentaries.
Right, and I'm sure he's doing all of that to earn money. That has nothing to do with the Patterson film. He didn't try to sell the Patterson film.
Nope.
Well, it wasn't his to sell, was it? It was Patterson's.
But he was there. Patterson's gone. I mean, if Bob Gimlin was selling copies of the Patterson film, I don't think anybody would bat an eye at it. I'm just saying the film didn't go around trying to make money whenever it first came out.
Why did he wait so many years to try to capitalize on it?
Well, he had to wait until Bigfoot became popular. There wasn't any demand.
It's always been popular. There's Bigfoot lore going back before Patterson Gimlin film.
Yeah, he would have hit the circuit in the 70s if he was just after money.
The 70s was huge for Bigfoot. There's old horror movies, there's documentaries, there's all sorts of things from. He had all those years that he didn't even talk about it, wouldn't even talk about it, and now he does.
Here's what I can say, regardless of the people or what I see on the film. I don't believe that if someone were making a costume for a Bigfoot at the time, that they would be like, hey, let's go to the extra problem and put breasts on it.
Right,
Yeah.
But let's just say that they did. Let's just say for some reason they did. I have talked to several professional costume makers and special effects guys. I wanted to be a special effects guy my entire life. I know a lot about the process. And I am telling you, not just my opinion, but the opinions of professional costume makers and special effects guys, the technology to make that suit was not possible then, regardless of what the naysayers want to say. And the rumor about John Chambers being responsible was a complete and total fabrication.
I believe that. I also believe Bob Hieronymus wasn't in a suit, but it was filmed on 8mm footage. How good did the costume need to be?
Well, you can see muscular undertones and the hair and everything. You would be able to tell if it was a costume, especially a professional who knows the history of costume making and what to look for, and how the actor would have had to have put the costume on and all that stuff. And none of those things that give away a costume are there.
But there are special effects people that say it is a costume.
They say it's a costume because they don't think there's a chance that Bigfoot is real, therefore it has to be a costume. That's the Steven Struford argument. Bigfoot's not real, so everything has to be a hoax.
But that's a bit of a crappy argument, isn't it? I mean,
well, yeah, it is, but
you're saying that it's real because special effects people have said it's real. I'm saying it's special effects.
No, I'm saying that
it's not, and you're saying that doesn't count.
No, I'm saying that trained professionals who make a living at it have stated their opinion, which holds more weight than mine or yours on whether or not it's a costume.
Right. No. Okay. Fair point. To me, it looks like there's a seam around the waist now. I'm not buying it anymore.
Okay. And I'm a fat person, and I also have a seam around my waist whenever I don't have any clothes on. And it would also be there if I was covered in hair.
Right. Okay.
I'm just saying. It's cold.
There was
I don't
no.
know what to respond to
Yeah, I
that.
know.
Well,
None of
because
it.
I mean that's the way. I mean, if your body's proportioned that way, like yeah, it makes it look like a seam. Costumes generally don't have an ass crack. Patty does.
If any film footage of Bigfoot has any chance of being real, it's that one. Other than that, I haven't seen anything that impresses me.
I think there's
Even
probably stuff out there that none of us have seen that
Right.
probably blows it away.
Freeman, it was good footage, but the more I look at it, the more I think it's not real. Regardless of what people think of Freeman, and I've been a defender of that.
I mean,
footage for a long time.
not to toot Oklahoma's horn or anything, but the Oklahoma casino footage, which I haven't seen, but have talked to several people who claim to have seen it independently. That's up close and personal under light, and like is 100% proof.
Okay, let's
Well,
see it.
here's the problem. Why is that not seeing the fucking light of day then?
Because the BIA, the Bureau of Indian Affairs, stepped in and took it away. And the people that worked at the casino got threatened under contract that if they talked about it anymore, they would lose their jobs.
But why would the Bureau of Indian Affairs want to take that away?
Because that's the bureau that is the liaison between the tribe and the United States government. I don't know. I'm just telling you what I was told.
Okay, here's what I imagine is that if there were proof of a Bigfoot near that particular area, it may cause some issues for funding or tourism or things of that nature. And I know that in Pennsylvania, they say there are no mountain lions. There most certainly are. I've seen the tracks. They're there. And even over into Ohio, there are. But yet the government won't admit it because of they don't want people to think that they're there. Because if they do, then that hunters don't want to be out there with a mountain lion or whatever, you know. Of course, a hunter has a gun, but that's their reasoning.
Hikers and the such.
Hikers and things like that. So it could come down to a tourism thing.
I have no idea the cause behind it or if it's true or not. I'm just telling you what I was told.
Well, obviously, someone's been flapping their gums, or you wouldn't know about it at all.
Right.
Well, there's video, and people have seen the video.
I mean, it's been on documentaries and stuff. Everybody knows about the video, but I mean, they're not allowed to like. Of course, they can tell me in like private. I'm just saying they can't be like talking about it at the casino in front of customers and stuff.
Well, if there's a Bigfoot outside the casino, it will work one of two ways. It'll scare everybody away or it'll draw more people in. And my guess is that they're worried that it'd scare everybody away.
Well, and we've talked about too before, Matt, like different images, you know, that we've seen that haven't necessarily seen the light of day.
Yeah.
And, you know, whether or not they are better proof than what we've seen before.
I mean, supposedly, you know, Cliff Berkman has a picture on his cell phone that's amazing.
I have seen it. It's okay. But I only seen it held up to a webcam. I haven't seen it in full force, so I can't 100%.
Right.
I know that there was a group that was formed whenever there was a I don't know what you call it, a big leaving of people in the BFRO. This was years and years ago. Some of the higher ups didn't agree with the direction that Moneymaker was taking the group. And so they formed their own group, and I was actually part of it. And I was privy to several photographs in that group. One series of photographs, and it was a series, it wasn't just one, was taken by a fireman who was on duty whenever he took the photos. And they were awesome. It wasn't anything that would like prove the existence or anything.
Right.
But it was either a Bigfoot or a person in a costume.
Right.
And those have never seen the light of day and never will.
Yeah, and it's crazy that there's stuff like that that's out there that, you know, we may never, ever see any of it. and it happens with a lot of things.
And if for some reason, not going farther down the rabbit hole, but if for some reason it is a fact that these things exist and the government does know about them, they want to keep them undiscovered for whatever reason. So if that's the truth, which I don't know that it is, but if it is, that's why you don't have the casino video.
Yeah, well, I think it's
Right.
probably a lot more mundane reasons than, government cover-up type shit. But if the government knows, like I said, it's more mundane reasons, tax dollar type reason more than anything.
Right.
The Scottish government routinely encourages people to look for the Loch Ness Monster because it's good for tourism.
That's a different thing. And if
But people aren't cruising around Loch Ness with high-powered rifles shooting at things.
right, Bigfoot's a whole different story. You got people out in the woods who, if they really thought it was there, could be very dangerous to other people out in the woods.
Oh yeah.
Loch Ness is a different story. They're out on a boat, or looking from the shore or something. They're not out there to kill the damn thing.
It's not a bunch of redneck assholes. They're already here.
It's a different culture there too.
Right.
True.
And even the people that are going there in a tourist fashion aren't doing like what the people would be doing here, searching for Bigfoot. Or like, I would rather search for Nessie in Loch Ness than search for what's the one in Lake Erie, Steve?
Bessie.
Then search for Bessie here with some Americans. I'd be betting some dynamite would be going into the lake.
Oh yeah,
Well,
for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah, but now certain places do capitalize on the legends that.
But they capitalize it on it being a legend.
Yeah, and they make a festival out of it and things like that. But that's different than the government acknowledging that this thing exists, for sure.
We talked about one of them places last night, didn't we? The Skunk Ape headquarters.
There's a skunk
Oh,
ape
in Florida.
Yeah.
God.
In
Yeah.
Otripy Forest. Dave
David
Shealy.
Jelly or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Skunk Ape footage.
Skunk Ape. The land of the skunk ape.
So what we've learned
before we wrap everything up, what do you guys' take on the skunk ape?
Yeah.
I know Richard doesn't buy any of it. He doesn't give a shit. It's just some fucking douchebag. But Matt, what's your take on the different I don't know what you'd call it, the offshoots of Bigfoot within the United States or even the world for that matter? So you've got like the skunk ape, you've got the Yaren, the Yowie. What's your take on that? Like, why?
I think they're just environmental adaptations over time.
So you think it's just evolution that carved out a niche for this particular one, and it's not necessarily a different species. It's just it carved out its own niche and genetically adapted.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I'd buy that if that was the case. I love the skunk ape the skunk ape researchers. Love me some Tim Fasano.
Oh yeah.
WWTFD.
Yes, that's the new thing, Matt. Whenever you're lost in Bigfoot research, whenever you need to find the answer to a question, you need to ask yourself, WWTFD. What would Tim Fasano do?
He would make a video where he's sweating profusely.
Matt, and that is what you should do.
That's what I should do.
Instantly, or from a taxi.
Or from a taxi.
Because that's also acceptable in this case. But yeah, that's our new thing on
no matter what I'm talking about, I need to be like mildly irritated about it.
Of course. Of course.
Like he's totally irate.
He's
but
just
no
like
in between.
Pissed off all the time. I think it's possible skunk ape could be an escaped small pod of orangutans.
There were reports of escape. I don't know if it was orangutans, but some sort of primate in Florida and I think that could be a possibility.
I'd buy into that
When
more.
they were filming the Tarzan series.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that did happen.
Yeah.
So yeah.
If there were enough that could start a population, I could
Right.
I could imagine that there would.
And
be
there were places where they had like escaped chimpanzees in the United States where they had to round up the fucking chimpanzees, for fuck's sake. That shit happened.
We had a guy in Ohio who had all sorts of exotic animals, and they got out. So
No, let's not talk about guys in Ohio and exotic animals, Steve, because that's a topic I know a little something about.
Oh boy, what do you know?
I know that it's surrounded in mystery and murder.
Ooh. Mystery.
Murder.
You guys haven't heard about the Ohio exotic animals?
Murder mystery.
It's been years since I've actually.
Yeah, the owner of the exotic animal park was found dead with a ball gag in his mouth.
Ooh, that's a lot of mystery.
This is like a fucking episode of Billions.
Yeah, like crazy shit happens with exotic animal owners all the time. There was one that ran for governor of Oklahoma. He didn't make it, obviously, but he ran, and now he's actually serving prison time for being a naughty guy. And there was another one who got put up on statutory rape charges and burnt down his animal park for the insurance money. So something. If you own an exotic animal farm, there's probably something
going on with you.
A little something going on.
Wow, that's some crazy shit.
But those places, there's I know there's a big primate sanctuary in Texas. Like if
fucking Texas don't give a fuck.
Yeah, if something
there
got
are
out there,
more tigers in captivity in Texas than there are tigers in the world.
And if you cheat at a fishing competition, it's a felony in Texas.
With good reason, Steve.
Texas don't give a fuck. That's just the way it is. It's crazy what some of these states allow for these exotic animal licenses and these laws. Texas being one of them. You can do whatever the fuck you want in Texas.
That's with Texas.
You said that right. But yeah, and I mean, it just breeds some crazy shit. Crazy shit happens with people who want crazy animals. Happens. And then you get fucking urban legends of alligators in the sewers. And that shit scares me as a child. Even though I lived in a place where there were no sewers.
Or alligators.
Hey.
There was a snake, though, in Maine.
You live in a place with no sewers.
Well, I lived in the country, dude. It was all wells.
Oh.
I didn't there was no sewer system. There's a septic tank, yeah.
Somebody tossed an alligator in the septic tank.
In the septic tank. In the one septic tank.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like you and I talked about that whole fear of sharks and like jumping into pools and still thinking like a shark would be in the pool. Like totally irrational thoughts. Oh shit. But no, I think to wrap all this up, I think like we can all agree that we all have common ground on this. I think that's the most important thing. Like Richard, myself, Matt, Steve, more importantly, Matt and Richard. I think that they have more common ground in this whole arena than they do than they're at odds with each other about things. And I think that's what makes this discussion that much more important. Having these types of discussions so that we can hear what each other has to say. Because if you're not listening to one another, you're just fucking barking at one another. And I think the one thing that anybody who listened to this today or whenever they listen to it can take away from it is that, the two of you are willing to listen to one another and not just bark at one another. Because we make all of our jokes and we poke fun and we have fun. But at the end of the day, we want to get to the truth of the matter. And I think that's where you and Richard are on more of the same page than any other.
Yeah.
Is that you want the truth of the fucking matter.
Defo.
Because we all do. I know I fucking do.
And the truth is, if thousands of people are seeing this thing and it's not there, that's a bigger mystery.
Mhm.
Yeah. That is a much bigger mystery.
Like, what the fuck did I see?
But then it goes into, is this something that is if that's the case, and I don't think that belittles what you saw, but is this a case of one of these mass hysteria things that happens in people? Because we know that type of shit can happen with people too. I'm not saying that that's the case in this instance at all. I don't think it is.
Right.
But if it was, I mean, what does that say about people? Like, is this something that was left over genetically, instinctually, that we're remembering?
Right, like genetic memory or something.
Right. And it's just left over so dominantly that we still hold on to it. But the funny thing that I would think about that is we were actually on this planet with some pretty scary fucking birds.
Yeah.
That ran on the ground, and people don't freak the fuck out
when they see big bird
too much about birds.
I do.
Yeah, some people do, but by and large, people do kind of freak out about like spiders.
Yeah.
And shit like that, which is an instinctual thing.
But also, in all fairness, if it was mass hysteria usually doesn't leave behind footprints.
Right, correct. And I don't believe that this is a case of mass hysteria. I think it's something else. I think it's, it is something that's been here that we just haven't been able to catalog, or maybe it is something from another I don't know if it's from another planet or not, but I think that's a possibility that has to be looked at, because it is a possibility. Or whatever the case may be with this fucking thing. But I think it is and I hate to use this word because I know that it's pissed you and Steve off tonight. Steve, was in your camp, but this phenomenon, this thing, which really kind of swept the nation for like the past however many years with like finding Bigfoot and everything that's been going on. And before that, Monster Quest, which I think we can all say Monster Quest, thumbs up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love that show.
Thumbs up on yeah. As much as I bitch about it and say, nothing can
I see all these people on the internet always asking like, "Whoa, bring Finding Bigfoot back." Fuck that. Bring Monster Quest back.
Yeah.
Bring Monster Quest back.
Look for more than just Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And like I said, as much as I hate it, because you can't find anything in a week or two. Like, and that's what these little expeditions were. But I loved what they did, the in-depth stuff that they would go into about the creature and the sighting reports and so on and so forth. Loved it.
Yeah.
And, so we'd all love to see something productive come out of this goddamn research community. So if anybody can pull that off, I'd appreciate that more than Meldrum on the show. To be honest with you. But that's just me. But on that note, this has been the Fortean Slip, episode 75, the Great Bigfoot Debate. If you like this shit, hit the little thumbs up button. If you don't, hit the little thumbs down button. Leave a comment, subscribe, check out Richard. Richard, do you even do your blog anymore?
Occasionally.
Check out Richard Allen's blog, links below the video, and check out Bigfootin' with Keith and Colin on Facebook. That's his comic strip about two ignorant ass Bigfoots that are based on Steve and I guess. Check out Para Breakdown, the soon to be Para Home Improvement, at youtube.com/Para Breakdown. Check out Matt Knapp at youtube.com/Bigfoot Crossroads and Cryptid Tales. He just uploaded a couple of new stories on the Cryptid Tales channel. And as always, check out Dred Funn at dredfunn.com and youtube.com/Dred Funn. People, we are on iTunes now and Spotify. The RSS feed is out there if you want to listen to the show on your phone, whatnot. We are out there. Let people know. Check it out. We will be back next week with another spectacular episode. See ya!